Today we're going to talk about Bulletproof coffee. We're going to talk about Bulletproof coffee, the way it was intended to be made, and then the way you see people on social media making it, and making it out to be something that it's not. And we'll dig into that a little bit more. Bulletproof coffee was coined by Dave Asprey, entrepreneur, businessman, hiking in the mountains of Tibet and seeing Tibetan people using a tea with yak butter. That simply held them over in the cold climates whenever they were outside in frigid temperatures. It was not something that they consumed every single day. It was more on a basis of giving them some kind of caloric intake that would sustain them long term, being out in cold climates, and at least keeping their core temperature up somewhat. And the basis of it is just allowing them to have energy while they were outside doing what they were doing. You often see people on social media putting in gobs of artificial sweeteners and coconut oils and things like this, when that part alone is not the beneficial part of Bulletproof coffee. Bulletproof coffee was bastardized by people that want to be known for creating something outside of what it was originally created for. Something healthy, something stable for your metabolism, gut healthy, brain healthy, things of this nature. And then they started taking other things and adding it in and making it not so healthy. I mean, there are just as many claims and studies out there that show artificial sweeteners in any form can be harmful to the gut and slow the process of digesting these things down in the long run. But we don't pay attention to that because we focus solely on the aspect of it's low glycemic. It doesn't spike our blood sugar. It doesn't spike our insulin. But there are plenty of times that it's been talked about in our medical studies where just the thought of having something sweet in general will have a dopamine style response that can trigger an enzymatic response that can trigger cephalic insulin or just insulin levels in general to start secreting something, because it's starting to prepare you especially for something sweet that's about to be ingested. And artificial sweeteners alone, just because they don't inherently or right up front spike your blood sugar, doesn't necessarily mean they're that healthy for you. Some of the safer artificial sweeteners to add to stuff is Stevia, monk fruit, and erythritol. Those are the three that are the most common, the most used, with monk fruit being the least because in its pure form it's the most expensive. But monk fruit has something in it called Triglycerides, and I'll touch on that a little bit. It's probably the healthiest out of the top three used, but again, it's expensive. Erythritol can be made from many forms. You want to try to find a form that's non-GMO, non-genetically modified. And with that being said, it can come from many sources. A lot of times it comes from a corn source, and the fermentation of corn in the process of making erythritol in itself, some would say, it's probably not very healthy to begin with, but people still tend to use it anyway. Whenever you buy Stevia, you might look at the package of Stevia and see that it's never really Stevia straight. It's got some kind of erythritol or monk fruit blend along with it. And we'll touch on that a little bit too. There are different compounds of the medium chain triglycerides that you can find out there on the market. Some of them have C6, C8, and C10. Others just have C8 and C10. Some of them just have C8 by themselves. And these medium chain triglycerides each have their own characteristic. The smaller the number is, the more it gets through the body and is not as beneficial. The longer the number is, the more it takes for your body to use it. And it can be beneficial, but it's slower acting per se. So we'll touch on that as well. A lot of times when people make Bulletproof coffee, they make Bulletproof coffee out of just regular butter sources or clarified butter like ghee. They can make their own ghee. Really what you want to use is an organic grass-fed source that has more omegas to it, and that's the healthier form, and that's what the Bulletproof coffee original recipe really called for. It's the healthier version of Bulletproof coffee. Some of your YouTuber stars, Facebook creator groups and stuff like that, your social media stars will post all this glamorous stuff with all these additives that they put in there because they're thinking that they're making something more friendly to the user, when in the long run all they're doing is creating more cravings. And if you could simply get used to the minimal form of what's healthy, you would benefit your gut, your brain, and your body in general in the long run, instead of adding so much junk into your coffee. As always, a growing YouTuber, I would love for you to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.